Hello everyone. I am Kamaljeet Kumar. Today we will learn SQL injection using how we can exploit SQL injection using SQLMAP actually. So this is very beginner friendly, I can say walkthrough, which by using this tutorial or in this tutorial we will only learn how to use SQLMAP for very beginner users, right? So let's continue with this. So now we have an application test php This is a testing application by Akunetics. So they use this website to perform their run their scanners, right? So we will use this application to perform the SQL injection attack using SQLMAP, right? So now let's try to, first of all we need to identify entry point or parameter which is which is fetching data from database using some kind of SQL queries, right? So we know SQL is nothing. SQL is a structured query language which used to we can say used to fetch fetch the data from databases using some SQL queries, right? There might be some different queries like select, update, and all. We will not go in depth of that kind of thing. So today we are only focusing on actually SQLMAP and to identify SQL injection from very beginner actually kind of thing. So here we have different pages. So we currently we are on categories page, right? Here you can see categories.php, right? And we'll try to view this posters product or category. So when we click on products, so we move to list products.php page. So here you can see we are able to see different products listed by that website, right? So now you can see we have a parameter name cat. So cat is a parameter we are suppose or we are what we can say, we are assuming that this parameter is interacting with the database to fetch the data from databases, right? So before that we need to identify whether this parameter is dynamic or static. So to identify that, there is a very simple way. We just need to make changes within the values, right? So here we type 2 rather than the 1. So let's say so here we can see we are only able to see the thing product details actually. So if we put 3, then let's see what we are not able to see any data. So it means this is a dynamic parameter, right? So again we move to 1, and now we are again assuming this is a PHP application which is we can identify from here, or we can also use some kind of tools like webalizer and all, but here we can identify that this is a PHP website. If it is PHP website and parameter is dynamic, so it is 90% chances the database would be SQL, right? So now we need to break the queries actually, SQL query, right? So for that we will put single quote here after the value of parameter, right? So when we put the single quote, we can see we got an error, which is you have an error in your SQL syntax. So this means we are successfully able to break the query. We are successfully have privileges to insert or mark our special characters or queries within that SQL query, right? So that's why this showing us an error. So when any website shows you this error by putting single quote, so it means that website is vulnerable to SQL injection. So now we'll automate the our SQL injection tag using SQLMAP. So again we will copy this URL, move to a terminal and type SQLMAP -u for the URL. Then we start double quote and double quote close and press enter. So here we can see it is giving us some kind of information, testing connection to target URL, checking if the target is protected by some kind of F. And you can also see here the SQL map still tries to identify whether this cat parameter is dynamic or not, as we discussed later, right? Now it is asking for, it looks like backend DBMS is MySQL. Do you want to skip? Yes, we don't need to, want to run other scans, so it will time consuming for us. So now we will skip this by typing yes. So again it is asking for us, do you want to include all tests? Yes, we'll type yes, and it will take some time to identify what type of different type of SQL injections, right? So don't worry about or don't think about these type of SQL injections. So we can discuss these things in later videos, but this video is only for using of SQLMAP. Actually, how we can use SQLMAP to fetch the data or exfiltrate the data from the database if we have a SQL injection vulnerability within that application, right? So now we can see we have some results. Get parameter cat is vulnerable. SQLMAP identified cat parameter is vulnerable. Do you want to keep testing others? No, we don't want. Press no. So now here we can see as the results, SQLMAP give us a cat parameter is vulnerable to these 4 type of SQL injections, right? So it is Boolean based blind SQL injection, error based, time based, union query, right? And at the very end of the results, we can see the backend DBMS is MySQL, web server operating system is Linux, technology is used is PHP 5.6.40 and Nginx web server, and also we have DBMS or MySQL version number, right? 5.6. So now we successfully identify and confirm this SQL injection using SQLMAP. So now we need to understand what is the structure of the database actually. So it is very simple. I believe most of people know about that. So let me zoom in a little bit. So if we talk about DBMS databases, right? So we have the structure would be like, there would be some, first of all, database, then it contains some tables, right? Then it contains some columns, and in the columns we have data, right? So now we identify within using SQLMAP, we identify the SQL injection vulnerability is there, right? And we can exploit that cat parameter using these 4 type of SQL injection, right? So we don't need to do anything. We just we just provide the commands or execute the commands using SQLMAP. SQLMAP automatically give us the results using any kind of the or best of the SQL type of injection, actually using best type of SQL, right? So now we need to identify very first thing what we want. We want databases from the that MySQL, right? So for fetch the databases, we will type --dbs. So dbs command is nothing, is it will fetch all the existing database names within that MySQL database, right? So let's wait. Yeah, it will take very 2 or 3 seconds and give us the results. Here we can see fetching database names, available databases to acquired, and information schema. So now information schema is a very common database in the SQL, right? MySQL databases. So this contains the information about other databases actually. So we can say this is a metadata, but don't think about these things. Actually we will discuss these things in later videos in very depth way. So now we will only start with the as a beginner, how we can exploit the if we figure out any SQL injection vulnerability and how we can exploit that using SQLMAP, right? So now we are only targeting this database, which is AQArt, right? So now we have the database name, which is AQArt, right? So now we need to fetch, we'll try to fetch the table, name of tables within this database, right? So how we'll do that? We will type -d for the database. We will remove that -dbs, which is accurate, and now we'll type -tables. So what this command will do? SQLMAP try to fetch the names of tables within this accurate database, right? And we press enter. Okay, it is very quick. Here you can see, guys, fetching tables from database accurate, right? Here we are able to see, we can see that there are 8 tables here, right? Artist, cards, featured, guest book, pictures, products, and users. So we can now fetch. We have the name of columns tables actually, which are let me copy this one. Yeah, so we have table names now. Right now we have table names. So now we will try to fetch the columns actually. Oh, sorry. We'll try to fetch the columns within these table names, right? So now you can use any table name, but as an attacker, so we also want to save our time. So here we can see in that these tables there are different interesting tables actually: artists, cars, guest book, pictures. But very interesting table is users. So we will try to fetch the name of columns within this users table, right? So how we'll do that? We will again go to that command, put -t for the table name. So our table name is users, and then we'll type -columns. So this command, what will do? This command try to fetch the name of columns within users table, which is present in accurate database, right? And we will press enter, and here we can see now we have the name of columns within users table, right? We have 8 columns. Okay, yeah, we have 8 columns. Let me copy this one, okay, and we'll paste it in our notepad. Let me move this one, press tab. Yeah, so here we have this we have database accurate, then we check the table names, and in the table we select users table, and within that user table we try to fetch the columns, and now we have the name of columns within users table, right? So now we will try to fetch the data actually within these columns, right? So how we can do that? Just use the same command, put C. Now we have to define the name of the columns from which we actually want dump the data actually, right? So I'll go for the name, or no, I don't need name. Let's email, and I also want password, and we need to separate it by commas actually, and I also want CC, which is credit card data, and we name uname, right? Or we can do like this: email, uname, pass, CC, or phone. Yeah, right? And then we just put -dump. Then we press enter. It will take it took only 2 or 3 seconds. So here we can see we got the email CDS. This is test application, so data could be like this, right? Then uname is test, password is test, credit card is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and we also have phone number. So this is how we can exploit SQL injection vulnerability and fetch the data actually using SQLMAP. So guys, if you ever figure it out any application during your pen testing or assessments while you are performing in your organization, or you are doing it for a client during as a freelance, if you are beginner, then you can take a help of SQLMAP to fetch the details, right? So this is like a very beginner tutorial for I think it will help lots of students who are doing their assessment assignments, right? So we will in the future videos I'll try to create the videos, detailed videos actually, on each and every SQL injection type, right? So I need your comments and suggestions how we can make our videos more good. And yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for bear with me. See you in next video.